and welcome back to Inside the Labyrinth podcast. Here with my boy, the originator, the OG, Frankie V. Say what's up to the people, Frankie.
How you doing? How you doing? Where you been? Oh, man, we got a good one today, Jay. I feel like we can't get out of this labyrinth, dude. We're just fucking fighting through this thing. So before we introduce this guest, I'm so pumped. He is going to bring us through his labyrinth. He's a warrior in himself, and he's been around a lot of warriors, so I'm really pumped up. This is season 2. What are we up to now? Episode 5, Jay. We're cruising along. Yeah, episode 4. Episode 4, we had the GOAT of the powerlifter, Eddie Cohen. So make sure you guys definitely check that out. But before I introduce my guest, I'm going to kick it over to the one and only Dr. J.
That's right. It's me, the real Jumpman J, a.k.a. Plant-Based Poppy. Got a great guest today. Frankie told me he locked this guy in, and I was super, super, super stoked when I heard the name come across. So without further ado, I'm going to have Frankie bring him in. You guys are going to love this one.
All right, guys. We had to bring in a big fullback, 4th and inches to go. So we're calling 32 trap right up the middle. Chris Gronkowski. How you doing, Chris?
What's up, guys? I like that. Yeah, that's probably the last time I got a handoff, man. I was calling plays out. Yeah, man. I was playing Philly. I was with the Cowboys at the time, and it's the last game of the year. It was 4th and 1, and we had to get it, and we did, and we ended up winning that game. Oh. So, man, I like that.
Right there. Was it really trap?
No, it was just it was like a 23 dive or something like that.
Yeah, right there, man. That's awesome, man.
It's been a while, man. It's been a while, but yeah, I'm pretty sure it was just like a quick dive. Up I actually got stuffed, man, but kept moving the feet. Just like you learn.
Keep the legs moving.
Keep the legs moving. That's all. First thing you learn in football, and I got it in, man. I got it done.
That's it, man. That's it. So we really appreciate you coming on the show, man, and everything going on. We really do appreciate it, and we just want to check up on you right now and how you're doing over there in Texas and everything.
Yeah, man. It's been a little crazy. I got 2 kids. I got 2 boys, and I got a 3rd one on the way. My wife is actually due on the 28th, so we're within a week.
Congratulations.
Congrats, man.
Keeping the legacy going over here. My dad had 5 boys. I got 3 now. My older brother has 2, and then he finally had a girl. So it's possible to have a girl in the family, but it's not very likely is what we found out so far. But
man.
Things been good. It's definitely different. We had to pivot a lot, but, man, anything in life is going to be hard, and everyone that succeeds are going to be the one that just keep putting the work in, man. Yeah, a lot of people are sitting on their ass, chilling, doing whatever. Right from day one, we said, hey, we got to figure out a way to keep this thing going because we're not going to fall victim to something like this.
Absolutely.
Exactly. That fall victim. I like that. We're not going to fall victim to something like this, and that's kind of how the mindset as every person in America should have, because you don't want to be a victim. We fought too hard. Well, Chris, we're going to go through your labyrinths and see how you fought hard to where you are today. So if you can kind of bring us back to the high school days, man, growing up. I knew you grew up in Buffalo, so you represent New York like us, so that's awesome. And kind of like how was high school for you growing up with your brothers and your friends and everything and stuff like that? High school football, really.
Yeah, man. Bill's Mafia. That's how we grew up. I know you got
smashing tables.
Yeah, man. We had Jim Kelly. We had the crew, man. Back in the day, my dad went to all the games. But growing up with 5 boys in the house, it was crazy, man. It was all day brawls, nonstop. Everything we did was a competition. From we played backyard baseball. We played what we call little mini sticks in the basement. We make up games we call Zoom, where we take the pillows off the couch. We just run full speed at each other, try to knock each other out. And that was all day, every day. And it's kind of
WWF matches, right?
Oh, heck yeah, man. We won a lot of WWE. We're banned from it because all we were doing was walking around giving everyone, the DX. My mom hated that one, man. She hated D-Generation X because that's all we would say then. And we had a phrase, we'd walk around and say, suck it, but my mom would get all mad. So then we'd say, we'd say, puck it. She'd be like, what does that mean? We're like, Kirby Puckett, our favorite baseball player.
Yeah, Minnesota Twins, Kirby Puckett. Oh,
yeah, man.
I like that.
So my mom hated wrestling, but no, I mean, it was mayhem. I tell people this all the time. Like, we had a couch in our family room. That's it. Like, we didn't have end tables. We didn't have a coffee table. Like, we had nothing because it was destroyed or it was used as a weapon or we're throwing it. So a couch and a TV, and that was it. And nothing else was allowed in our family room. Every wall was nicked up, dinged. I mean, our house was a mess. I don't know how my parents sold it, but it was crazy. 5 boys, and we were that neighborhood where it wasn't just us. Like, we all had friends, and they all came over. So we all had like 1 or 2 people over the house as well. And at the end of the day, there'd be 10, 15 people at our house every day.
Wow.
Am I cutting out?
No, you're good. No, you're good. Like my question is, so were you like the house on the block that everybody went to, like their house? Because there's always that one house in the neighborhood where, like, all right, dude, we gotta go to Gronk's crib because we're gonna barbecue in the back and then we're gonna throw the ball around. We're gonna bullshit. Was that like the Gronkowski household?
All day, every day, man. And our mom cooked. She made us food too, and she made sure everyone ate. So everyone was coming over. It was those homemade meals, and it was good, man. We had like the neighborhood where it was just so many kids, and it seemed to be like all boys too. So all day, every day, I could walk out, and it's kind of weird now because I'm in Texas and everyone has a fence here. But in New York, like, you don't have fences in New York. Like, you walk into your neighbor's yard, like you walk through the yard. You walk through someone's yard in Texas, they can shoot you. So
right.
You don't walk in their yard. But back in the day, man, we run through everyone's yard. We're playing tag. We're playing hide and seek. You're just running through people's yards all day, all your neighbors, and that's how it was. So it was kind of just this awesome community feel that we grew up with.
I was going to say probably running from the cops was a lot easier in New York than down in Texas. You have to run through any fences and jump over them,
Oh, man.
Those high school
He's
bangers.
athletic, bro. He can hop a fence.
Yeah,
run
right. Through it if he has to.
Yeah, we could clean over those puppies. Now, we had the little fences. That was just like the little ones just for like pools and stuff. So those are easy to jump.
So So high school, I kind of want to get into your mind, Chris, about high school football and really what it meant to you and what you really got out of high school football now that you've done it. I mean, how long ago did you play high school football?
Man, I'm 33 now. So, 15 years ago.
15 years ago. So
yes.
Kind of what it meant to you and the grind, and you still take things from high school football that you do now today.
Yeah. So what's crazy with us was that we never played football until high school. It's a lot of
crazy.
People.
Wow.
And we really grew up playing every sport. And I think most of the values that we learned, actually came earlier on teams that, my dad taught us, playing. He was a guy that was always about, we're going to play every single player. And he knew he was a coach and he knew we were the best players, but it was always about, hey, everyone has to contribute if you guys want to win. And so we had the teams where every single kid on our baseball team, he pitched. Every kid played first base. Every kid played shortstop. Every kid batted first, second, third, fourth. And that's just my dad's mindset. And we always won because he always taught everyone how to play. It wasn't like, hey, this kid, he's just here because his parents want him to be here. My dad didn't care. He was going to learn the fundamentals. He was going to teach him the game. And we're going to be the best that we could be because everyone was a part of it. And so that was awesome. I think that's something that, we just kind of saw. Like, he didn't sit there and like point it out, but we just kind of learned that from our dad. And I think that really helped with teamwork. Then from there, it was always about like never quitting. Like, if we're going to start it, we're going to finish the season and we're going to go hard. And so that's something my dad instilled in us super early as well. And I think that helped us a lot too. And it was always about getting to that next level too. He put a gym in our basement, and he just, especially me, because I was the smallest and the shortest in the family. And he was like, hey, if you want to get to that next level, I'll teach you how to get to that next level. But if you don't, I don't care. That's on you. So it was always about, hey, if you want to get there, I'll show you. If you don't want to get there, that's fine too. So he never really pushed us into it. It was always on our own. But if we wanted it, we're going all in and we're going to do everything we could. So a lot of it was also done in the weight room. And I think one of the biggest benefits for us was that my dad brought in a speed coach for us. And he brought him in high school. And it fucking sucked, man, because all we did was run sprints all summer long, agility drills, like in the middle of the summer. And like half the days we throw up from it. My oldest brother, Gordy, was in college. And he'd come back and he's fucking partied hard. So he'd go out like on the weekends, come in on Monday, throwing up everywhere. But I think that was also something that really took us mentally and physically to the next level.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, so you're the smallest one? I got you listed at 6'2", 238, bro, and you're the smallest one?
Yeah,
that's
man.
Crazy, bro. That's you know what that's called? That's called good stock, Frankie. guy's got good genes. Comes from a good gene pool. Now, is your dad a big guy?
So my dad's, I mean, I'm kind of what everyone should have been, is how I look at it. My dad's about 6'3". My mom's like 5'6", 5'7".
Yeah.
My parents aren't, abnormally tall. My dad does have a brother that's about 6'8". So I'm guessing
Oh, shit. Okay.
But yeah, man, I'm still like, I'm kind of like, I'm the size that you would think, but my 3 older brothers, actually my 2 older brothers and Rob are just, beast. All of them.
I mean,
6 and over.
238 is not small neither. So it's like, if you're the small guy, I was about to say, I hate to see the big guy. You know what I mean? Because like that's just, I mean, in like proportions, you're a large human being. It's not a small guy. Like if a dude walks through a door and he's 6'2", 230, I'm going to think twice about putting hands on him. But I mean, I'm pretty sure you didn't have any issues. Did you, like when you graduated high school, were you that size or were you a little bit smaller?
So yeah, I was out of high school. I was probably about 6'2". I played at about 6'2", 215, and then
Okay.
when I got a Division I scholarship, I put on a bunch of weight. So we called it the gain weight program. And Rob and I would we make these protein shakes, and we just put like half of a tub of ice cream in it, and we chug it. And yeah, I got up to about, by the time I left high school, I was probably at like 235.
Okay. Yeah, because I got you at 6'2", 238 with a 4.7 40. Is that accurate or a little bit faster, a little slower?
It's a little bit faster. Come on.
I'm about to take that game time speed. At least 4.5, 4.6 game time. Yeah, I mean, that's impressive, bro. I mean, you're a large dude, and can move. Now, how would you say like your lateral movement was, like just moving in space?
Good. Yeah, that definitely all was attributed to our speed coach. We did so much training laterally. It was all agility and explosiveness and ladder drills, and speed kills. Speed really does take you to that next level, and it's athletic ability. It's being able to control your body. And so at a young age, when you get that training, it's a game changer, man, because you see it immediately, within a couple weeks.
So let me ask you, right? So like, did you see a huge difference between like you guys and then like the kids who just kind of showed up and did like, now I don't want to say the bare minimum, but what the coaches told them? Because having a speed coach and then having like, like a gym teacher who now coaches the football team, hey, like get in the weight room, do this, do that, and then do like your field work stuff. You feel like there was a huge difference between you guys and everybody else? Yeah.
So let me tell you what happened with this speed coach. So he comes in. He's a former Miami Dolphins player. His name's Damaris Johnson. And
oh yes, okay.
Damaris?
Yes. I'm like a football guy, so it's like I've always paid attention to like anybody who's like a speed guy or like a specialty dude. I was always into that. So go ahead. I don't mean to cut you off.
Yeah. So he comes in and he's never done this before. He never had a coaching program or anything like that. But we met him and he said, hey, I'd love to train your kids. So he trained us, and I think 2 of our friends, and then I think his kid and his kid's friend. And so that was it. The first year, I think there was like 7 of us total. And, we did it all summer. We did all the drills. We came that year, and, everyone was like, what happened to you guys? And
everyone, you guys on? Yeah, right, crazy.
All in one summer, you guys just all of a sudden are like, these absolute beasts. Your speed increased immediately. Your quickness was insane. And the next year, he went from having 7 of us to having like 5 different schools signed up.
Wow.
Yeah.
Everyone was in his program, man. He was killing it at that point. But the results were so dramatic that he proved himself in one summer with just 7 of us.
The proof's in the pudding, bro.
And you guys put in the work, and that's what counts. I mean, you probably feel like being like 16, 17, right? Like a Jaguar out there, bro. Not even on the field, right, Chris? But like outside the field, right? You just got a lot of confidence, and it felt like wow, like I'm in control of myself, and I feel like not like a superhero power, but I feel like something I never felt before just by freaking working out and pushing my mind to the limits. You know what I mean?
Oh man, yeah. I mean, that's always how working out has been for me. Even after sports, and that's every day I still work out because you get that mindset, man. I could go into the day feeling absolutely awful, getting nothing done. I could go crush a lift. It could be 20 minutes. It could just be a run. It could be anything. But if I push my body and my mind, physically at some point in the day, my day dramatically, gets better and I get more work done. It's always been like that. It always will be. And people that don't do it, they don't know what that feeling's like. And once they start, it's almost like you get addicted to it.
Yeah, literally, exactly. All that serotonin and those endorphins and the dopamine, man. It's the best high in the world, honestly. And Brian, we had Brian Shaw like on the show on season 1, World's Strongest Man, and he said, no matter what his day was, it just reminded me of this. He could be having the worst day in the world, right, man? And he knows, so if he goes into the gym, 135 pounds, right? A 135-pound bar is always going to be a 135-pound bar. That bar doesn't give a shit how you feel, what's going through your mind. It's always going to be there, man. So you're able to go in there, do what you got to do in the weight room. And he said, at least if he did that and everything else went wrong, he got a little victory in his day. And those little victories always added up at the end when it counted. So I'm happy you said that, Chris. Now, when you were in high school, what positions were you playing? You were playing both offense and defense?
Yeah, so everything, offense, defense, special teams, never came off the field. I was playing like fullback, running back, and then I was playing like a linebacker, safety position.
Oh, awesome.
That's kind of what it was. So, yeah, man, it was also, long snapping, kick back up, like
fun, yeah.
everything, man, everything you could think of. And our coaches always say, like, hey, if once you're a senior, you don't got to play special teams. But, we were in the highest division in New York, and we had like 22 guys on our team. And out of the 22 guys, 10 of them played both ways. We had a center and a guard or a defensive tackle that were the only ones that didn't play both ways. So it was crazy, man. It was weird because everyone in our high school played hockey, and we won states in hockey. And so, if you played hockey, you almost had to dedicate all your time to hockey. Like the hockey coach pretty much said, like, hey, if you want to play other sports, hockey's not for you. We want you all year round. And if that's not the case, then, you're not playing for me. So, most of our best athletes played hockey instead.
Wow. You see that mindset, man. And I coached the DBs and the wide receivers at Clarkstown North, my high school. And the mindset of that, and I don't know if you agree with me, Chris, but I definitely disagree with that, is especially now this generation is like they're so focused on one sport. I feel like back, I graduated 2010, but even when you graduated and way before that, people were playing 3 sports at a time, man. You're really able to have fun and really become an athletic machine on all these different sports and really focus on not just one sport. And just more people you meet, the more teams you meet, the more athletic you can see. If it's hockey, football, lacrosse, baseball, you really get to dive in there and be like, wow, maybe if I did play maybe I always wanted to play hockey, football, but I couldn't play football and I focused on hockey. Maybe I was a better football player, but a better life experience with all those sports, man. I agree. I feel like if a kid shouldn't just be held to just to one sport, like, dot, 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 dot. You know what I mean? I don't know if you agree with me with that or not.
No, I do for sure. I think it makes you a better athlete as well. You're a well-rounded athlete. There's different sports that bring different elements. I mean, for us in baseball, it was hand-eye coordination. You go to hockey, and for us, it was body control and using your body to check people and get it in the right position. So I think we used all that and then brought it to football, which was kind of a combination of both. So yeah, I 100% agree that you shouldn't have to focus specifically on one thing, and to be a better athlete, you should play everything. And you also don't get burned out, man. I think that's one of the biggest things too, is that especially like kids that are sitting there playing like Pop Warner all the way through, and all they do is play football. And, usually it's because their parents want them to. And by the time they get to high school, they don't even really want to play. Like the passion's not there, like the fire's not there, and they get burnt out, and that's it. So it's tough. I think when you play multiple sports, you really find which ones you love, and you don't get burned out, and you also just become a better athlete. So yeah, I mean, I know Texas is tough because everyone here wants you to play football and football only.
Football, yeah.
And just forever.
So raising my kids here, I'm like, I don't think that's going to be the case for us. I don't want my kids to play football, and then in the off season, all he's allowed to do is work out and drills for football. It's like, hey, he wants to play baseball, he's playing baseball. And I think that does make you a better athlete overall.
Right, like a lot of pressure.
Also too, injury prevention too. They say when people play multiple sports, actually prepares the body a lot better. They actually had correlations, like in studies, where 3-sport athletes had less injuries than the kid who was playing one sport all year round. You know what I mean? Because a lot of what happens is they'll play like for their school, and they play like some kind of AAU of some sort or some kind of like club, and they were noticing that people that were these kids that were playing one sport primarily, they were having the ACL injuries and having like the nagging issues versus the kid who was playing 3 sports. Now, my question to you is, was football your sport? Do you feel like you were the best at football, or were you like better at baseball? Or was like football your sport of choice, or did it just come naturally?
Yeah, so man, my first year I sucked. I remember that.
Honesty, I like it, Chris.
Yeah, man, and we didn't know how to play, man. Like we didn't grow up playing, and we never played organized football, so I didn't know what the hell I was doing. But no, I was a really good baseball player. But for
Okay.
me, how I saw it was, if I wanted to get a scholarship somewhere and get school paid for, it was football. I mean, you have a 53-man roster that you're giving out. I'm sorry, that's 53 in the NFL. In college, it's 84. So there's 82 or 84 scholarships that they have to hand out, and there are so many Division I and Division I AA programs giving out scholarships. So, I saw my brother go the baseball route, and it was tough. He got a fourth of a scholarship or something like that. He ended up being a freshman All-American, but he still paid for college all the way through for the most part, I think, senior year. And then I watched my brother Dan. He went and got a full scholarship to the University of Maryland. I'm like, that sounds like a better idea to me.
Yeah.
My passion was more for football as well. Man, I grew up and we fought, man. We fought every day. And that was kind of my attitude, and being the smaller one. And I was like the little fat boy too growing up. So all my brothers would make fun of me. And it was just like, we are brawling all day, every single day. They had like this. So when I was younger, I was so fat that like my nipples went in. For some reason. It was like all they would talk about, man. And so even at a young age, like all I would do is like I would go downstairs and I start working out. I do abs, like everything, and still to this day, I'm like, dude, why do you have why your abs so good? I'm like, because those motherfuckers made fun of me every single day. Yeah. So I'll go in the gym and I do abs every day. But I was all about hitting people, man. Like in hockey, all I wanted to do was go lay people out, and so it kind of came natural when football came around. I was like, man.
What position did you play in hockey? You were defenseman or?
Yeah, so everything for the most part, but
okay.
Yeah, I mean, as a kid, we were young, and being like the premier players on the team, we play everything for the most part. But
okay.
As we get into like stuff like that, I would usually play like defense for the most part.
Okay.
Did Rob and all your other brothers, they were in high school in Buffalo too? They went to play the same school you did?
Yeah, so we all played together. Rob got into some trouble in his senior year. He actually went to Pittsburgh instead because he was suspended a couple games in New York. So
and that was high school.
In high school, yeah. So he played 1 year.
You guys went to Williamsville North, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Remember that. Now you said you were when you were long snapping and stuff. Did you kick field goals too?
So yeah, I can't remember if I did or not. I think we did, but I don't think we ever actually kicked extra points or field goals. Like we always just went for two because I sucked at it, and everyone else did on the team. I think there was like one team in our whole division that actually kicked extra points.
Because I was saying, I don't know, man. We might have to get you to New York and run a little you versus Rob down here in the New York turf. And who's going to kick a 30, 40-yard field goal? I think I'm putting my money on you, man.
Man, what I look at now is, when you try to do stuff now, when I'm older and like looking back on things, I'm like, man, I wish they just like took some time to actually teach us how to do it right. Because you just go out there and you just do whatever you do. Like no one teaches you, no one actually knows the correct form, and you just toe the ball for the most part. But if I actually wanted to and I wanted to learn how to kick, I can, man. It's kind of everything I look at back now. I'm like, man, like I play basketball now for fun, and I learned how to play and get a lot better just by turning on the TV and watching NBA guys. I'm like, yeah, like that's how you do it. Like, why didn't they teach me this back in the day when I was playing in high school? I mean, there's so many things that when you're young, you just don't realize that you could watch someone else and get better, but you don't care as much when you're a kid, man. You just want to be out there.
Yeah, you just want to be out there. You just want to play.
Yeah.
Going back to so in high school, right? So you were. Would you say that you were heavily recruited coming out of high school? I know you went to the University of Maryland first.
Yeah.
Was that like your top option, or was it like, all right, if this doesn't pan out, then I'm going to go to University of Maryland, or did you have like a 1, 2, or 3, or it was just whatever?
Yeah, I wish. So coming out of Buffalo, it was rough, man. The whole state of New York, I think there was 7 guys who got Division I scholarships to play football, and you look at like. Florida, there's over 300. You look at Texas, there's 400 guys. California, 400 guys coming out. So we have the same population as Florida, and there's 5 guys coming out of all of New York. It's like, man, what's going on here? But So no one's really coming up here to recruit, and it's tough to come out of Buffalo. But I had the University of Buffalo was my only Division I scholarship, and they wanted me to gain like 60 pounds and play guard. And
oh shit, no, yeah,
Hit
him with it.
yeah, so I was like, hell no.
I hear a lot of that, Chris. Chris, I hear a lot of fullbacks. Like they have fullbacks like you that are your side. Like, all right, or running backs. You're tough enough, but maybe and you're fast
The connection
enough
coming in bad.
and
Hold up. You in Wi-Fi, bro? Because it kind of just
they-
came in a little choppy.
a lot of guys like that. Who, mine? Did it come out choppy?
Yeah, something just came in choppy.
Yeah, I think you're.
Are you good?
Can you hear me now?
Good?
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
back.
good. Oh, I said I was saying, Chris, like I hear that a lot. That a lot of guys that are quick and tough, like you, from running, like out of high school, a running back. Oh well, that was good. You carry the ball well, but let's try to get you gain some weight and move the guard. So I hear that all the time, man. So that's like a popular thing that does happen a lot.
So they try, but I mean, they see the feet, they see the quickness, and you can convert guys like that. And I had a teammate in Dallas, and actually he was at Maryland with me, and that's kind of how he was. He purposely gained weight because he knew he would be a good lineman, but just wasn't natural for him. And right when he was done playing, he dropped all the weight too. And I mean, he had a great career. He played in the NFL for I think 6 seasons, and yeah, it is, man. If you're not fast enough to make it, or if you just don't want to play a position like fullback, which is never going to be a highly valued position, and it's going to always be really tough to make it. And you have that option to say, hey, I'm 6'2", I'm kind of a tweener, I'm not going to play tight end, I'm not going to play running back. So it's either I'm going to play linebacker or I'm going to gain a bunch of weight and play guard. And so those are kind of your options if you want to get to that next level. And for me, it just wasn't too glamorous to put on another 60 to 80 pounds and play guard. So I had that offer on the table. I probably could have went there and still played fullback or whatever, or maybe linebacker. But I wanted to leave town is what it came down to. Buffalo, it was absolutely amazing, but they just moved up and they were getting killed every year. I didn't just get stompled, every single year. And I also wanted to leave home and, get out on my own and kind of live life and figure life out. So I had that offer, and then I had a bunch of Ivy League offers. So I went on an official visit to Harvard, went official visit to Penn, and I was actually, I got into the Wharton Business School, which was like the dream for most people, right?
Oh, nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
I went down there and I was on my official visit, and the guys are like, man, my guy is hosting me. He's telling me how he was crying his first week in college and how hard it was and like all this shit. And I'm like, man, sounds awful. And, and on top of that, man, like you pay, like you, at least then, I think they just recently changed this, but when I came out of high school, you had to pay full tuition if you went Ivy League. Like there was no scholarships, there was no grants, there was absolutely nothing.
Okay.
So it was kind of a thing where it was, okay, I could go Ivy League, I'm going to leave college with $200K in debt, or I could go D1, University of Buffalo, which I didn't really want to do. And, I was actually signed to go to Penn, and I just figured, man, like I'll suck it. I can get through the classwork, and, there's still a chance to go to the league, which for me, I never thought was even an option. I was always told like, it's 1 in a million. And I got 2 brothers who are way better than me. I'm not even the 3rd best in my own family. So I'm like, there's no chance I'm going to the league. So I was like, hey, let me get the best education that I possibly can. And then, I'll be set for life after that. So last minute, the University of Maryland calls us up and they're like, hey, we lost a bunch of guys that just couldn't pass their SATs. And then they lost a couple of guys that were also already on the roster, and they were about to go into academic probation because the team's GPA just sucked.
Yeah.
I get this last minute offer from the University of Maryland because, my brother Dan's there. He's killing it. Dan has like a 4.0, and they're like, well, we have these extra scholarships to burn. And, if you come in at least, you're going to at least bump up the GPA, and you better have a 4.0. And I'm like, all right, let's do it. So they brought me in
Awesome.
at the last minute. So I tell people this all the time. Like my grades literally got me a full scholarship. I would have been at Penn and I would have came out, with $200K in debt. So I tell kids all the time, man, you could be as good as you want to be. You can't pass those SATs. You're not going to get there. And on top of that too, it takes – football is not just a game of talent, like especially once you get to the NFL. And the reason I got to that level was that A lot of guys couldn't figure out the playbook. A lot of guys couldn't get through college either. You have to make it through college to get to the NFL. And so you have to pass your classes. And so I tell people all the time, I wasn't even the most talented, I'm not even close to the most talented player that made it. I made it because I got through everything. And then I was able to also make it because I was able to learn the playbook. I knew what I was doing. I knew where to go, and they could trust me.
Yeah. So what I gathered from that whole thing is perseverance and commitment. Like, I think a lot of people, like, they only see the highlight reel. They only see, like, hey, you went to University of such and such, right? But they don't hear that, oh, my man had a 4.0 GPA. Like, I mean, a lot of people think that it's all sports, but in actuality, like, you're talking about your decision process, right? And you're like, damn, I can go to this Ivy League school, leave with 200K in debt, right? Or I can go to University of Maryland and I can get a great education, and I can also have a little bit of fun, you know what I mean, and enjoy myself and play a sport that I love. So, like, when you hear the checks and balances of how you made that decision, it's like, oh man, like, I think that would, like, if a young kid is right now is on the cusp, right, of, like, you know, trying to chase his dreams, and he hears, you know, Chris Gronkowski kind of weighed his options where, like, all right, I still want to be a kid, right, but I also want to, you know, I don't want to leave college with 200K in debt. Let me make the conscious decision to go to a good school, right? Have a little bit of fun, but also I'm crushing my grades too. I think, like, a lot of kids don't hear that from guys at all. Everybody just talks sports. They don't talk about, you know, the what we really go to school for is to get an education, right? You know, and you even said yourself, you're like, dude, like, you know, out of all my brothers, I'm not the best, so let me just try to get this education. Like, you actually sat down and broke down your options and then made, you know, career decisions based off of that. That's fucking genius, bro. Like,
Yeah,
I think kids need to hear that, dude.
no, for sure. Yeah, I think that's a huge part that they miss out on. You know, it's so focused on athletics, and that's all they care about is, you know, how many touchdowns I'm going to have this year. But man, yeah, put the work in the books too. And it's so much easier for a school to give you a scholarship too, when they're going to say, hey, you know, we know we're not going to have any trouble with this kid. Whereas, you know, you have the same talent as another kid who, you know, his grades are terrible, and, you know, they're not going to take that risk on him, because usually those kids drop out in the first year. So you just burn a scholarship on someone that, you know, never is ever going to step on the field for you. You train them, you know, you bring them in, they learn, you know, you try to teach them the playbook. They don't learn that. So, you know, they're going to 100% side on somebody that has better grades. So get the work done, man. It helps throughout the rest of your life as well. So college sucks, man. When I look back at it, it's one of those things where I'm like, I don't know if I could go back and do it, because you're there 24/7. I mean, you wake up at 6 a.m., you go to study hall, you go right to a workout, you go right to class after that. Then you go right to practice, and then you get home and you study. And you're like, holy shit, man, I'm getting home at 6 or 7, and then I got to study for my classes tomorrow, wake back up at 5. And, you know, it's a full day of work. And if you're not ready to grind, you're not going to make it through it. And you're never going to make it to the league anyway. So figure out how to get it done when you're in high school.
Chris, that was.
So you go ahead.
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, that was funny you said that, Chris, because I just literally, bro, on the way to work, I called my buddy. He's not a cop, but he's a teacher, and I called him, like, dude, Anthony, if we had to go back to Cortland, like, dude, how the hell did we even graduate? That's what I said to him. I'm like, dude, we and now I was saying I played Cortland football, which is D3, but it was still wake up, go all the classes. Right after classes, people don't understand with football, the actual memory and the actual classwork behind it. I'm talking 2.5 hours before practice, just watching this film and going over these plays, then going to practice, and then you know, going to dining hall and eating, studying, working out, library hours, and then once football is over, then you have spring training. You can't get in trouble. You have to go to spring training workouts. Then it's like, oh man, well we didn't get like too much strength workouts in today, so I'm gonna go back to the gym later after dining hall and do some deadlifts and some squats. And it's like, and then you add in like going out and having fun. And I said this conversation to him, like, dude, how do we do it? He's like, Frank, I don't know, man. I don't know if we could go back and do it again today. And I was like, I think you're right, man. So it's just really funny how you said you thought the exact same thing we did. And I literally just had this conversation on Thursday. So it's funny that you said that, Chris.
And you got a party too, man. And I was good.
Yeah, hell
You
yeah.
gotta have fun.
You gotta have fun. You got to be able to balance it out. So my question to you is, like, I know you went to the University of Maryland. You redshirted there, right? Then you transferred to the University of Arizona.
Yeah, so Maryland, yeah, I ended up redshirting my first year. I played my second year, and I transferred after that. it was just a situation where, like, my brother Rob came in. He was number 1 in the nation at the time, and one of the top recruits, and they thought he was a lock. And so the coaches in there just like talking shit about me, and it really came down to the fact that I had one practice that I missed. I mean, I did everything right. I had the grades. They gave me the Iron Turf Award is what it was called. That was the strongest pound per pound running back on the team as a freshman. And so it was kind of like all your lifts divided by how much you weigh. And I was coming out at the top as a freshman. So I was putting the work in, and it really came down to one practice where I was a backup, fullback. Like, I was a goal line fullback, and that was the only one we had. And I got hurt, and I was trying to work through it, because the last thing I ever wanted to do was miss anything for an injury. But I couldn't even move. I couldn't run. I was a hip flexor, and man, it was just lit, and it was on fire. And so I told the coach,
no joke.
Yeah, I was like, man, like I'm trying to run, I can't run. Like I'm hurting too bad to run, and so I missed. We couldn't do goal line that day, and so the head coach was pissed because he couldn't run his goal line. We ran goal line all week, but he couldn't run it one day during the week. And after that, he took me off everything, and so that ended up being like the same week that my brother came in, and he's like, I don't think Chris is ever going to play for me, and they just sat there and talked shit to my dad and my brother. And Rob walked out of that meeting and said, I will never play for this guy. And so I'm like, where are we going? So
United we stand, bro.
Yeah, man. So looking back on it, I ended up leaving. He ended up coming right after I got there, and the head coach ended up getting fired a couple of years later after being the coach of the year. And a lot of it had to do with, he had Vernon Davis, and Vontae Davis went and signed at the University of Illinois. He had my brother and my older brother Dan and I there, and Rob and goes and signs at the University of Arizona. Just so many things that kept happening where this coach was obviously putting people in the wrong place at the wrong time and just saying the wrong thing. So they ended up firing him after winning the ACC, and I felt good that I was a part of it.
Hey man, you know what that's called, Chris? That's called karma, bro. Like,
yeah.
Energy is a continuous thing, man. It doesn't dissipate. It only gets transferred. So whatever he was putting out, it came back. You know what I mean? But let's go to University of Arizona. Like, I hear stories that is such a great party school, and I know as a Gronkowski, like, that is just in your genetic makeup. I mean, how was like the college environment for you guys, like, coming in? Was it like full tilt, like I hear about it, or was it like, is it not what it's cracked out to be?
No, it was full tilt when we got there. I'll say by the end of it, they definitely cracked down on it. And there's certain things that happen with like frats and stuff where they were like, hazing their guy, like they're putting him in the freezer and stuff. And I think someone died. Yeah, like they like
insane, dude.
They were doing. I don't know. I'm sure it's happened forever at every.
That's a real ice shaker, Chris.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But I know certain things happened where like they started getting locked down and stuff. But when we first got there, man, it was mayhem. Like, to recruit Rob, they brought both of us to an apartment complex, and the apartment complex is to get students to like live there with throw parties, and they throw like keggers with like what t-shirt contests, and they
probably like, what are we thinking bringing these guys here?
And so like they bring like they pay for like minor celebrities to come in, like they had Big Black there, and so we get there, we're like, no freaking way, like, dude, there's no IDs being checked, there's nothing, like, you just go in there and you're partying, you're taking keg stands, and everyone's going crazy. So I'm coming from New York, like you come from Buffalo.
This is full blown. This is back in the this is real day. This is you.
And so, man, that's how it was. And that's how it was for the first couple of years. I would say our last year they really cracked down on it, but man, it was all out. And what the thing about Arizona too is it's always nice out. So I got there in the winter, it was like 5 degrees out, and I'm in the cutoff, and I'm loving it. And man, everyone is just like, everyone's so much. I feel like everyone's so much happier. You're in better shape. You're always taking care of yourself because you always got to be pool party ready, and that's kind of how the.
Dude. I mean, look, man, you're from Buffalo. Buffalo gets cold as fuck, right? And then you get tons of snow. So now you go from a completely different environment. It's like it's warm all year round there, except for that night that shit gets hella cold. But let me ask you a question, right? So now, you're playing at the University of Arizona. Come senior year, what was the vibe like? Heading out of your senior year, what was what was going through your mind? Like what offers were on the table? Like, Like walk us through that process.
So in college, for me, so I started, my first year I started was actually my junior year. And so I never thought I had a chance of going to the next level. It was about halfway through the season when Rob was being looked at heavily. And so scouts started coming in, and my running back coach was like, "Hey, they're asking about you." And I was like, "Nah, they're asking about Rob." And they're like, "No, like, it was actually the Jets at the time. They're like, they're looking at you." They ended up drafting John Connor that year instead of me. But
Okay.
they were looking at me from my junior year on.
Right.
So, that was kind of the first time I even thought I had a chance. So I had a really good junior year. I played with Rob. Rob ended up getting hurt, so he didn't play my senior year. So for me at that point, I was banged up too. I hurt my hamstring in camp, and it was bad. And the thing that sucks about college is all they want to do is see you on the field. Like they don't have to pay for your injuries.
Right. Yeah.
Interview. And it's a next man up mentality. There's 120 guys in your damn team. So, there's plenty of guys to go around. So if you're hurt, it's like, all right, next guy. So I tried to play through this injury, and it was awful. Like I couldn't run the whole year. It sucked. But going into the draft for me, it was something that I had a chance to get drafted, but I'm a fullback. And if anything, maybe one or two might get drafted that year. I knew John Connor was up there, and he ended up going 5th round, and we didn't even know if anyone else would go after that. Had a couple calls, but ultimately for me, I knew it was going to be a one shot kind of deal for me, and that's what it ended up being. I went undrafted. I got a call right after. My agent put me in a really good situation with the Cowboys, and I knew at that point it was, hey, this is your one opportunity. You're going to either make it or you're done.
Well, first, man, we would have John Connor, the Terminator, right? We would have loved that. We would have loved to have you on the Jets, man. Just fireman Ned, man, getting you pumped up, man. You would have loved that.
The Bills fan, though, bro.
Yeah, I know. But I'm just saying it from a Jets fan. Would have loved to have a Gronk on there. We need something, man, a playmaker, something, man. I know we're running out a little time, Chris, so we're trying to push some questions about people think. I got 2 questions for you, man. One is everyone thinks like the Gronkowski is like a huge party, but I don't think they understand also that it's not just party, because you wouldn't be able to become the man you are today and the family you are today because I've seen your workouts. I've seen Rob's workouts freaking in his house, just grinding. There's a limit to that, Chris, right? Would you agree where there's a time to party and there's a time to grind party when it's right and grind for really what it's worth. You know what I mean? You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, for sure, man. And
you weren't blacking out every day after practice or whatever. Like that would.
No, I think there's always room.
Impossible.
Yeah. So, I mean, there was always a time to have fun, and there's always a time to work hard. And I think we found a good balance with that. But, yeah, like I think it's always overblown as well. People see Rob out, and every time he's out, it gets put in the news. So he's not even close to. It's not like he was partying that much. It's just that every time he partied, he was on the front page of TMZ or the front page of the Boston Globe. So I think he got more credit than he even deserves on it for all that. So that's one thing. But no, I mean, we definitely did party. I partied hard in college, but it was always, if I did, I woke up the next day and I absolutely crushed the workout. Even if I was completely hungover, I was still going in there and I was actually usually doing it better than I normally would have because I'm like, hey man, like I enjoyed myself. Like I had a good time, but I need to put that work in now and I need to make up for it because I know that didn't help us. So that was kind of always the mentality was, if you're gonna have fun, you're gonna pay for it and you're gonna make up for it. And we did. And that was always the case. Once I got to the NFL level, I didn't do that anymore. Like that all completely stopped. And same with Rob, like he didn't do that. Like that was never a thing in season. Like we didn't go out ever during the whole season. But then what you saw was like, the second the season ended, we'd like party a little bit, man, because
almost out of the cage.
That's a grind, man. It's an absolute grind. I mean, it's really, it's a 17-week season, but it all starts way before that in camp. And so you go, 20, if you go to Super Bowl, man, it's even longer. I mean, you just add on another 4 or 5 weeks. So man, that's a long time to really be 100% buckled down and on a grind, every single day from, 5:30 a.m. till, 6 p.m. when you get home. So, people, they deserve it. You deserve to have some fun once the season's over. But yeah, I always believed in work hard, play hard. There's a balance there, man. You lose your mind if at some point you didn't just let go and enjoy yourself a little bit. And even with business, man, it's been the same way for me as well. I can grind all week and 80-hour weeks is no problem. But at some point, I have to let go, or you're going to lose your mind.
Right. Before we wrap up, Chris, 2 questions. One, I want you to explain to our listeners what the ice shaker is and everything. But before I ask you that question, man, out of high school football, college football, and the NFL and all I think you played for 4 teams, right?
Yeah.
What did you have the best memories and experience, like the most life lessons out of either high school, college, or the NFL?
It's a great question, Frankie.
Yeah, I think they all brought something a little bit different. Man, for me, high school was really like the first time it was really like a team feel. Like it was like, hey, like we're all.
I think a lot of people need to hear that. If they're in high school and they don't go to the league or college, they need to remember that right there, because those are the brothers. I feel like if you call them today, Chris, they're going to be at your door ready to go with you no matter what.
Yeah, man. You always remember those games and those times too. And
those nicknames, those funny guys, man. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I still talk to my high school coaches, and that's kind of how it is.
No.
And, it's not the same once you go up the ranks. Like you're not necessarily talking to your college coaches, and, I'm definitely not talking to my NFL coaches. So yeah, man, you have that special bond in high school. I think you learn a lot because you're so young. It's kind of your first experience with it as well. And then, man, college for me, what I learned the most was it was really like multitasking is what I learned. That was by far probably the biggest lesson. Like we talked about before, how much you had to learn, how much you had to get done, and you had to take it serious. So I think that was the biggest lesson that came out of that. And then, man, the NFL is just a whole new world, man. It's all about responsibility and getting everything done the right way, because one little mistake and you're gone, especially someone that was in my position. So it was as crazy as, if I come in 1 pound overweight, it's $1,000 per pound. If I come in, 1 minute late, I'm either cut or it's $1,000 fine. So everything was, if it's one bad play, everything's watched on film right afterwards. So, you can be released just from one play for not knowing what you're doing. So I think NFL was 100% attention to detail is really what it was. What it came down to was, you better really be paying attention, and you better really be good at your craft and really care about it, because it's not a game anymore at that point. It's 100% a job, and it's a job where a lot of people are on the line, and it's, you can really, hurt or help the team by doing the right thing. So, yeah, man, all 3 levels definitely brought a different dimension.
Yeah, I'm happy you said that, man. Pay attention to detail, and it's not a game. It's a life and it's a job. And even if you're a cop, you got to hear that, because when you're out there, it's the same thing. Any little mistake, anytime you show up to a call late or someone's that could cost a job, that can cost a life. So I think, especially being a New York City cop, and Jay can agree, man, every freaking second counts, and paying attention to detail could save a life, could change the game, could change a play, could make or break everything. So I'm happy you said that, Chris. Before we wrap up, I'd just like to hear more about Ice Shaker and let the listeners know really what it is and kind of what you do now with it.
Yeah, man, for sure. So after I was done playing, I was still living an active, healthy lifestyle. I was going to the gym. Here in Texas, it's so hot out that by the time I got there, my water was warm, and I was leaving sweat marks on the ground. And I just thought, man, like, why am I using like 5 different bottles all day long? Let me just make one bottle that I could use all day, every day. Keep my drinks cold. I can mix it, easily clean it, easily fill it with supplements. And that's really where the idea came from. So it's just kitchen grade insulated stainless steel bottle. I was able to get on Shark Tank. It's really taken off since then. And, the whole idea is to help you live a more active and healthy lifestyle, man. That's really what it comes down to.
That's awesome, man. More organized and less stressed with not even anxiety. Cause me too. Like I got 4 bottles sitting here right now. I'm like, God. And then all the bottles add up in your car and everything. And you look like a
That
mess.
shit gets overwhelming.
Yeah. So I'm gonna, Chris, I'll email you that and talk and see if we can get something going for spread that for the guys, especially in the city, and help them out, man. So
Yeah, man. We do some stuff with the cops here, and what's cool is we're actually able to personalize each and every bottle too. So
oh wow, that would be really cool, man.
That's dope. Yeah, it's dope. Man.
yeah, so we're able to put badges on and stuff like that as well. And we've done a lot of different just things to help with donations and stuff like that as well. And even with the fire department too. I don't know if you guys want to hear that, but
No, yeah, we do.
That's cool.
Every respect, yeah.
The land pirates are cool with us too. We're okay with the the burglars and boots.
Pirates.
We love everybody.
Yeah, man. For sure. But yeah, it's been fun, man, because it's my passion, and it's something that it helps other people as well. It's not about just selling a bottle. It's about helping people live a more active and healthy lifestyle. So it's about supporting them with workouts, recipes, diet tips, and our podcast as well. So I have a podcast now, Gronked Up, and really it's the same reason you guys started this. It's to help people. That's what it's about. It's bringing value to people that in tough time, head coaches, motivational speakers, really any aspect of life in that business that can help our listeners in some kind of way. We want to bring on our podcast. So it's been awesome, and it's been good, man. And that's really my passion. And to give someone something, you feel just as good when they do it and they get benefit. They get value from it. So that's why I do it, and that's why I love it.
Awesome, man.
Man, you seem like a very genuine dude, bro. So we appreciate all you do for first responders, and I also paid attention to detail, man. You're a very family oriented guy, and that says a lot about your character, man. So just we thank you for hanging out with us for an hour, kicking it, just sharing some stories, and just wanted to give my appreciation.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for having me. I'm surprised the kids didn't run in here. Actually, usually they get one or two visits from the kids during a podcast. So
yeah,
But it's guys, I appreciate it, man, and appreciate everything you guys do. Like I said before this, my brother-in-law was an NYPD cop as well, and I have a ton of respect for everything, man. He tells me the stories, and I just shake my head because I can't believe how he's seen, he's gone through, and man, it's a tough job, and what's crazy to me is it's not always respected either, man. Like it's hard to hear people say like, hey, fuck the cops and stuff like that. It's like, man, like these guys are here to help you. Who are you calling? When something goes bad, you're calling them, and then you're sitting here saying. So it is crazy to me, and I respect everything you guys do, and really appreciate what you guys do.
Thanks, Chris. I appreciate the kind words. Before we wrap up, should we flex on him real quick or what?
Oh man, we're gonna
get that pick.
This guy's ready. I love it, man. All right, Chris. Well,
man.
We appreciate you bringing the intensity and the energy, man, to this podcast and this show. It was great, and I think for me, being a high school football coach as well, I'm going to share this with the kids that are grinding, and to get more out of high school football to me was get more out of life than the actual game. And I think you can agree on that, and I really appreciate that, Chris. So again, everyone, Chris Gronkowski, a great man, not only on the field but in life, and a family man. So I appreciate you coming on. My name is Frank. I'm a cop in New York. You know where to find me. Reps_4_responders. Jay, where can they find you at?
The Real Jumpman Jay on Instagram.
And Chris, where can they find you at, man?
And just at Chris Gronkowski, Instagram, Twitter, everywhere. I don't know where I'm not at. So TikTok, everything.
That's it. That's it, man. And like my college coach used to say, win, right? What's important now, and let's get after it. So, Chris, have a blessed day, man, and a great Memorial Day weekend, man. And let's get it going, man. Have a great day. All right, bro?
Thanks, guys.
Enjoy, brother.
Thanks
for coming on, brother. Appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Fire, Jay. That was fire.
Yeah, kid. Getting better, man. Getting better, bro. Getting better.